Thank you very much, Professor Bacic, and good day to all of the participants. I hope you can all hear me fine. Okay, so before commencing with my presentation, let me just thank to the organizer, the Central European Academy, for bringing us together around another interesting and important topic. I will just say a few words. I will start with Louis Henkin. Louis Henkin, a longtime professor of constitutional and international law and of political relations at Columbia University, and arguably one of the greatest authorities of the public law of the 20th century. He opened the text of his well-known book titled Foreign Affairs and the US Constitution with the following short sentence: foreign affairs are national affairs. By this, Professor Henkin has in mind exclusively the American context and is actually emphasizing the fact that foreign relations are a prerogative that belongs exclusively to the federal government, not to the authorities at the levels of the member states of the Federation. First published in 1972, this book is today often associated with the affirmation of foreign relations law as a distinct legal field and a separate subject of study in the United States. However, unlike such a dominant approach, which is characteristic for the United States, in the majority of countries, foreign relations law is not treated as a distinct branch of law. There is, of course, a comparative interest in the issues this discipline addresses, and indeed, that interest has grown in recent years, as recent literature shows. But the American approach still does not enjoy wide popularity. Now, in most states, a more traditional understanding prevails, in fact. The law governing a state's external relations is studied almost exclusively within various branches of national law that have an international component in certain aspects. Above all, that would be constitutional. The content of foreign relations law varies from country to country, but its subject matter is constant. It always governs the modalities of a state's interaction with the rest of the world. These are issues that every state must be able to resolve, located at the intersection of national constitutional legal orders and the international sphere. Now, the core of foreign relations law, as that part of national law regulating a state's international relations, is always found in its constitutional document. And the same goes for the Republic of Croatia. This is also the focus, albeit not the only point of interest of my today's contribution to this conference. Now, the dilemmas that other constitution makers had to confront at some point of time were faced by the framers of Croatian constitution in 1990 in an effort to ensure the realization of its constitutional choice, within which one of the essential aspirations was the affirmation of state in foreign affairs and its whole integration into the international community, and to build a respectable constitutional democratic organization of government. Croatia had to solve the problem of adapting its internal legal order to international law. Furthermore, as were all former socialist states, the same was with Croatia. Constitutions for these countries meant maybe even something more. They were a kind of a promise of a new beginning. An integral part of the constitutional engineering of the broader European constitutional movement in late 1980s and in early 1990s, to which Croatia in its way certainly contributed, was the opening of new democracies to the increasingly important role of international and transnational law. More than 20 former socialist states adopted completely new constitutions or thoroughly adapted their existing constitutions, and it all happened in the first half of the 1990s. Of course, constitution makers in new democracies reacted in different ways in the process of adapting their internal legal orders to international sphere, but they all paid great attention to this issue. The European continent in that period, and it was a short period, was a true laboratory of constitutional action, leading a wave of constitution making with an intensity of previously unrecorded proportions. The reasons for the internationalization of constitutions should be sought in the general democratization of these states, then in the increasing importance of international treaties, in first line are international treaties on human rights and fundamental freedoms and the system of their protection, and certainly in the process of increasing interdependence present in various spheres of international relations, especially with regard to solving global problems and the challenges of economic integration. Now, leaving behind these limitations of the socialist state system and its corresponding constitutionality, the new European democracies opened up to international institutions. They opened up to the Euro-Atlantic framework of political and economic cooperation. Most of these states viewed membership in international and supranational organizations as an effective means of comprehensive reform of the legal, political, and economic system, which, on the other hand, encouraged the constitutionalization of powers related to foreign affairs. Active participation in the work of universal and regional organizations, especially as it regards the Council of Europe and the European Union, was viewed through the prism of affirmation and strengthening the rule of law, on which the construction of a stable social order, economic development, and democratic consolidation always crucially depend. Although some constitution makers took, let's say, cautious positions regarding participation in international institutions, regarding delegations of sovereign powers, there was no real alternative to accepting the values of modern international law and fitting into the broader system of the rule of law and the international level. The Constitution of the Republic of Croatia as a whole, and especially its provisions constitutionalizing issues related to international law and foreign affairs, starting from its adoption in December 1990 until now, and through all of its subsequent changes, clearly support this claim. Moreover, already in the historically important for Croatia, the decision on the termination of all legal and state ties, unanimously passed by the Croatian Parliament on October 8, 1999, declaring Croatia's independence from the Socialist Federative Republic of Yugoslavia, the following was clearly emphasized. I will just read it shortly. The Republic of Croatia, as a sovereign and independent state, guaranteeing and ensuring fundamental human rights and rights of national minorities, expressly guaranteed by the General Declaration of Human Rights of the United Nations, the final act of the Helsinki Conference, the documents of the Conference on the European Security and Cooperation, and the Charter of Paris as part of Euro integration processes, is ready to enter into interstate and interregional associations with other democratic states. Now, after the Declaration of Independence in 1991, the process of accession of the independent and sovereign Croatia to different international organizations began. The first international recognition of the new state followed at the end of 1991, and the process, we might say, was definitely completed on 22nd May 1992, when Croatia became a full member of the United Nations. This was then followed by accession to other universal and regional international organizations. In the same year that it was admitted to the UN, a political dialogue was established between Croatia and the Council of Europe, which resulted then in a submission of an application for membership in that organization. As a result, Croatia was admitted to the Council of Europe in November 1996. Further, The beginning of new millennium also brought the first step in institutionalizing relations with the North Atlantic Treaty Organizations in the form of cooperation within the so-called Partnership for Peace program, and then Croatia was admitted to full membership in this organization in 2009. And as a final step, Croatia became a member state of the European Union on 1st July 2013. So joining the EU definitely was one of the Croatia's main goals from the day it first gained independence. And we can conclude that by joining the European Union, the Republic of Croatia has fulfilled all of its key foreign policy objectives. However, already in 2015, a new proposal of international cooperation emerged. The main initiators of the idea were the then Croatian President Kolinda Grabar-Kitarović and the then President of Poland, Andrzej Duda. In fact, if we seek to trace the origins of this idea, it is quite reasonable to refer to the visit of President Grabar-Kitarović to Poland in 2015 and a subsequent Croatia-initiated meeting featuring to Poland, and subsequent Croatia-initiated meeting featuring an expanded group now of representatives of the region that was held in New York on the sidelines of the UN General Assembly in September same year. As it was already pointed out, as well as shown, unlike me, on PowerPoint presentation, by the way, by the first speaker, Professor Riba. So we have Poland and Croatia as main protagonists of, or protagonist countries of the initiative, soon to be joined by Bulgaria and Romania, which also definitely transformed the initial two seas, Baltic and Adriatic, into the three seas, Adriatic, Baltic, and Black Sea initiative. Nevertheless, unlike previous forms of international cooperation that I have mentioned, in other words, international or supranational organizations which Croatia joined, the Three Seas initiative is rather conceived, and it is, an informal platform of cooperation. It is an alliance mainly of post-socialist NATO and EU member states. Its aim could be defined as securing political support for specific projects of interest, not only to the countries involved, but also to the European Union. Namely, it is important to see the initiative as a complementary platform within the European Union, with whose political objectives it overlaps, and the implementation of the planned projects depends on compliance with the rules of the European Union and with its law. Now, interestingly, the support for the initiative in Croatia was not constant through the last more or less 10 years. Why? Because the change of political leadership after the presidential elections in 2020 also meant a certain shift in that sense. Namely, unlike the former president Grabar-Kitarović, who was, let's say, she was described like enthusiastic founder of the initiative, current president of the Republic, Zoran Milanović, on several occasions in short period after he was elected to office, expressed his doubts about the benefits of the initiative for Croatia's external relations. Nevertheless, the Croatian government, led now by Prime Minister Andrej Plenković, has taken on the initiative support. In fact, the Prime Minister, we may freely say, openly advocates the positive approach to the Three Seas initiative and its strategic goals. He also regularly participates in the initiative summits, including the 2023 Bucharest Summit and the 10th anniversary summit in Warsaw, held in April 2025. And this situation, in a way, brings us back to the field of constitutional law, and with that to foreign relations law. Namely, according to the Article 1990 of the Croatian Constitution, 99, of the Croatian Constitution, the President of the Republic and the government shall cooperate in formulation and implementation of foreign policy. Accordingly, the field of foreign policy is clearly divided between the President of the Republic and the government. Political reality, however, often shows that these constitutional obligations is not strictly observed. However, I will conclude this presentation with an announcement. It was published a few days ago on the official website of the Croatian Parliament. And that announcement tells us the following. Tells us that 10 years after the adoption of the Dubrovnik Statement as a first summit, Croatia again holds the presidency of the Three Seas Initiative and will host two summits. First, it is Parliamentary Summit of the Three Seas Initiative to be held in Zagreb on 25th March, which is tomorrow. And the other one is Summit of Heads of State and Government of the Three Seas Initiative will be held in Dubrovnik in April, accompanied by a business forum traditionally held alongside political meetings, reflecting the initiative's strong economic focus. Now, it seems that during its current chairmanship of the initiative, Croatia will focus on three key political areas. I will just mention them shortly because I don't want to hold the time. The first one is a strong, resilient, and competitive Three Seas Initiative region for a stronger and more competitive European Union. The second goal would be globalizing the initiative within a broader geopolitical context by linking it with other international strategic connectivity projects. And the third and final one, strengthening the transatlantic partnership, particularly in energy security and technology, in order to boost the competitiveness of regional economies. Finally, judging by these statements, a bright future lies ahead of the Three Seas Initiative. It remains to be seen, though, how successfully the proclaimed goals will be achieved in practice. Thank you.
Thank you, dear Professor, for this very interesting presentation. And now looking to the agenda of the conference, I see that there is a time for a discussion. So if there are any questions to our presenters, I will be more than happy to see. Yes, I see that the one participant, Nikolina Marasovic, yes?
Yes.
So
thank you very
please, you can ask. You can. The floor is yours now.
Thank you very much. I have just a short question for Professor Petar Bacic. So I'm curious could you share with us your view on the importance of the Republic of Croatia for the initiative, as well as on potential benefits that Croatia has from participating in this Three Seas Initiative? So thank you very much. That was my question.
Yes, thank you, Nikolina. What could I say? First, the fact is that the Republic of Croatia has a prominent place. It had a prominent place both in the initial stage of the initiative. It seems that it will have prominent place in further development of the initiative. I've mentioned certain inconsistencies demonstrated in past, particularly in the field of Croatia's foreign policy. But regardless of that, Croatia definitely has been actively participating in shaping the both political and structural dimension of the initiative. It participated as one of its founding members. It also hosted the first summit of the initiative, Dubrovnik 2016. So Croatia is definitely important, in my view, for the initiative. If nothing else, then because of its geographical position on the Adriatic Sea. In that sense, Croatia serves to the initiative as its let's say, southern entry point. It links the north and the center, both symbolically and strategically, with the Adriatic Sea or with the Mediterranean area as a whole. That's it. And when it comes to major benefits or more significant Croatian contributions to the initiative, I would say it comes in the field of energy or energy cooperation and security. Definitely the most important project for Croatia in that sense is Krk LNG terminal. Krk LNG terminal was mentioned by Professor Ševčák, if I'm correct. I'm sorry if I pronounced that wrongly, but I know he mentioned it besides Baltic Pipe as another key project of energy security dimension of a sector or dimensional sector of the 3Cs initiative. So that's it, I guess. Thank you.
Thank you very
Okay,
much.
so thank you very much,